working on some clay items that I'm going to be sculpting for an upcoming event. As some of you know, I have a studio spot at a local gallery. So I'm going to be working there twice a week, and then the rest I do at home in my home studio. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing this week. I just made myself some coffee and some cereal. I'm going to be heading to the gallery in a little while. Today is Friday, so that's one of the days that I'm there. But yeah, I'm so excited for my new studio setup there and to be able to be a part of that art community. I'm so excited for this opportunity. So yeah, let's get into the video.
Okay, so if you're walking down the road, there's a little art shop here, and then there's an opening right here, and this is how you go in from the front of the building. So this is what it looks like when you come through. There's a painted river on the ground, and if you just follow the river, you will find the two sides of the gallery. Then on the two sides of the gallery, we set up our little studios like this, and we work on our art. Now, I've had a few of you comment and ask what type of clay I use, and I use Sculpt. Sculpt clay is my favorite. It's usually really easy to work with. I don't really care for the Primo Sculpt, but that's all they had in the store for that specific color. But if you just get Sculpt in general, it's a very good brand to use. Today we're going to be working on making frogs, so I just like to start out by kneading my clay and getting the right color. Then I just go on to making the shapes. I think I recently made a post on my shorts talking about how I make my frogs, so if you guys are interested in making one at home, definitely check that out. But it's pretty easy. I just start out by making shapes, so I just do my big spheres for the body, and then I'll move on to the eyes next, where I make two small spheres to go on the top, and then I go on to making the bellies, and so on. So when I work on making the belly of the frog, I usually switch to a lighter green or darker green depending on what color the body is. We just want that contrast. And then I work on adding arms and legs. But yeah, that's pretty much how I make my frogs. I usually like to make several at once, that way I can get them all baked at the same time and all resined at the same time. It's just a long process if you just make one sculpture and bake it and then add resin. I feel like it takes up a lot of time, so I like to make my things in batches. Right here you can see that I'm adding on the bellies with a lighter green this time. And then once all the bellies are added, I'll go on to making the arms. And for the arms, I just roll out a snake and cut it, and then make it like a teardrop shape and then put it on the body. But that's pretty much how I make my frogs, and then I'll go on to adding the mouths, which I do the same process, just rolling out a snake and then just cutting little pieces. I'm going to show you a close-up right here how I do it. I usually use my needlepoint tool to add the mouths on. That way I just don't mess up the snake because they're very small and delicate. But once I do that, I add on the cheeks and then I go on to bake them. For some of the frogs, you'll see me poke a hole in the top, and that's just because I have to add an eye pin when I get home, before I fire them or after I fire them, so that the keychains can attach to the frog. Now, a few tips I would give to a beginner when you're starting out using polymer clay is not to get frustrated when you're sculpting. Practice definitely makes perfect with this. It's a very tedious process, but you'll definitely get better over time. I also recommend getting over-the-counter alcohol. This clay is a plastic-based clay, meaning that It is waterproof, so you have to use alcohol to clean the clay or smooth it out. If you're a beginner, I also recommend getting some cheap tools at Hobby Lobby, like my needlepoint tool here and some tweezers. They definitely help make the process easier, especially when you have to add on small details like the mouth. But yeah, those are some tips I would give to a beginner. I also recommend getting like a plexiglass cutting board off Amazon. Okay, so this is my desk in the back of the shop in the gallery. We have my oven here, which is cooking some frogs right now because I needed to make a few more just in case I have an event come up. Most of them are here. But this is my desk in the back, and my easel goes back here, my chair, and my cart. And I'll show you guys my little area out in the shop. So you just come through this door, and then it's right here. So if you're walking through the shop, like the first thing you'll see are my keychains, and then there's my prints, and here's a little bit about me, and you can follow me on my YouTube. And here's some more of my prints. Some more, and then I painted these two scrolls recently. I've been doing a lot more scroll work to put in the shops. Now the scrolls are going to be shop exclusives, so if you live in South Carolina and you want to scroll by me, it will be an exclusive to the Camden art shops. I do not sell these on my website. However, you can commission me if you're from out of state. And how you commission me is go to my commission form, and I can link that in the description of this video. Should also be my bio on YouTube. And then here's a little bit about me again. And then we have some more of my prints. And then over here we have the shelf with my clay things on it. And my crochet. And then we have a few paintings I did at the shops. And then this one I actually framed because I really like this artwork that I did. And some more. And my cart goes right here on the ground, that's why there's no pictures here. And it has my name on it and everything, so you know who the artist is. And this is what it looks like. So I am currently making another custom pet keychain for my new drop that came out. I do sculpt at my desk at the shops, so that's something exciting. People can walk by and see me working. So if you ever come to the shops, you can see me working in person and meet me, and I'd love to meet you. But yeah, so right here, this is Miss Tennessee, and I'm working on making her hold her cat. But yeah, I just love making these keychains because I feel like I'm able to bring everybody to life in my artwork. This has definitely been my favorite project so far. I've had so much fun working on them and making them. And I'm hoping that in this speeded video of me sculpting it, you guys can kind of see my process of making them, if you're interested in making some at home. But yeah, this is pretty much how I make them. I hope you like it, Miss Tennessee, and I had so much fun sculpting you. And if any of you are interested in purchasing one that looks like you and your pet, you can go to my website. Everything on my website is currently 50% off, so you can get it at a discounted price. and you'll see me pack it or make it on my YouTube. Right here, I'm just adding on the ears, and then I'll move on to the hair. Once the hair is done, then I will bake it and then paint the base on. So for my hair process, it was a pretty complicated way for me to do it. I definitely had to concentrate on doing this. It took me a while to figure out how to do it, but I pretty much just sculpted the clay into these little teardrop shapes and then kind of put them together to place on the head. And then once I had her bangs down, I flattened a piece of brown clay and put it on the back, and then I just like carved the hair into it. But yeah, it took me a while to figure out how to create the hair. I had to look at multiple inspo pictures on like Pinterest of people making like these little clay figures, but I finally figured it out. Like I said, starting polymer clay can be a very tedious process. I have been doing this for about 4 years now, like professionally, and selling my clay figures, and I'm still running into things that I don't know how to sculpt, but I just give myself a little bit of grace and just keep at it until it looks the way that I want it to look. Right here you can pretty much see her hair finished, and then I have baked them, so now I'm gonna add their faces. They are pretty much done now, so I'm gonna move on to working on a commissioned piece someone purchased. They wanted some frog earrings, so you can see me just doing my process of making my frog earrings here. I'm currently making the icing that goes around right here. I just sort of twist the clay and then add it to the cake. Then right here you can see me actually sculpting the frog onto the cake. I don't have my glasses on, so I have to get like really close to actually see what I'm doing. My mistake for not bringing them with me, but I get the job done. So I'm just gonna show you guys my setup with my cart in front of it. We are getting packed up and ready to leave. So that's what my cart looks like, where my artwork is. I'm just showing you guys what it looks like, just in case you want to come and visit and see my work. I'd love to meet you.
I think all of this is probably...
I don't have a jacket on because I'm about to go back inside, but it's really pretty out here in the snow. I've not seen a lot of snow in my lifetime. I've only seen snow about 4 times, I think, that I can remember. But it's really pretty out here. It's kind of windy. It's starting to fall a little bit. It stopped for a minute, that's why I came out here, but yeah. Remy's! So me and Max made a snowman. This is what it looks like. This is our second day of snow. Hello everyone, welcome back to my home studio. I worked on a few pieces this week at the shops and the gallery, so I'm back home now. I work twice a week there, so I work Friday and Saturday if you guys want to come out and see me there. But then I usually do the rest of my commissions and things at home that I worked on there that if I didn't finish, or I have pieces that need to go there that need to be done, I'll make them at home and take them. So I was working on my Valentine's Day pieces. This is a piece for my husband Max. I made him holding his cat. And then I'm also working on a few of my model call people. This is Tennessee and her cat. I'll try to show a picture of her and her cats in this video. But I got those two done. I have 2 more model call people to make, and then I'm probably just gonna make a bunch of random ones to take to cons with me. But they really remind me of Animal Crossing. If any of you have played Animal Crossing before, that's one of my favorite games. I was drawing a lot of inspiration from that. Stardew Valley as well. I really like Stardew Valley. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to give that video game type cozy vibe to the characters. But yeah, I'm just gonna be working on those. I have signed up for a lot of conventions this year. I've heard back from about maybe 3 or 4. 2 of them I got waitlisted, and then one of them I got accepted in, but I found out that it's a weekend that I won't be in town, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to go to it. I'm trying to wait till it's closer before I decide if I want to sign up or not. But other than that, I did sign up for another one. It is in Charleston in April, I believe. I think it's the end of April. I'll try to link the flyer here just in case any of you are in Charleston and want to come say hi. But I need to make a few things for that because most of my merchandise is at the shops right now, and I need some for the actual conventions. So that's what I'm going to be working on now. And I have my new Patreon pieces ready, and I need to print them and get them ready to be packed and sent out. I'll show you guys what my Patreon pieces look like for this month. If you sign up for my Patreon at all this month, I will send it to you. But yeah, that's what we're doing, and I have a few commissions I need to work on. Max had surgery during this vlog, so this is kind of like my month-long vlog for February. Max had surgery, and I've just been taking on emergency commissions so that we can make some extra funds, since Max does take care of all the bills where we live and everything. But since he's out of work, we need a little bit of extra money to pay for our bills, so I've been taking on emergency commissions. So if you guys want to commission me, I am open for commissions. All you have to do is message me. You will get a discounted price. Everything in my shop is 50% off, but if you DM me directly for commission, I can give you an even cheaper price than that, since I'm working with you directly. You can email me for this, or DM me on TikTok or Instagram. But yeah, so that is what's going on. Let's just jump into doing. So I have a few pieces that are made down here. I can show you. Some of them are earrings, and some of them are the little pet keychains. They have all been sculpted and baked. They all need to be resined. I'm going to resin them tonight, but I want to sculpt a few more things before I resin everything. I just like to get everything resined all at once. So I'm going to move on to sculpting a few other pieces before resining. Okay, so I am doing a spring shop drop. And for my spring shop drop, I'm doing a Studio Ghibli fan art theme. So everything that I'm dropping will be Studio Ghibli themed. Studio Ghibli has been like one of my favorite art styles since I was a teenager. I really got into Studio Ghibli, and I just love the art style. And so I decided to do a Totoro pencil holder. These will be available in my shop, so I'm just going to show you guys the process of me making one. I just start out by sculpting like an egg shape. I do fill the center with tin foil, that way it's a little more lightweight because all of this clay gets heavy after a while. And then I just add the tummy on like I add the frog's tummy on. And then I just worked on sculpting the nose. It started out with a just black like snake, and then I cut it, and then I placed it on the nose, and then just added holes for the nostrils. Then I indented where the eyes should go and added the eyes. Right here you can see me adding the texture for the hair on the Totoro. I just use a needle point tool and just make little lines all around the body. So you can see me doing that right here. It gives the sculpture some texture. Once I do that, I'll move on to making the ears, arms, and feet and tail. I pretty much do these all the same. I start out by making little snakes and then cutting them, and then for the ears I make like a teardrop shape. For the arms I just make like little tube shapes and connect them. This was one of my favorite pieces to make as well. I really enjoyed making the Totoro. How I went about it is I went on Pinterest and looked up just a Totoro sculpture, and I was like, ooh, this one's really cute, let me try to make something similar. So I just kind of eyeballed it. I added it to a stump like always, that way I have a spot where the pencil can go. And then I just added little soot sprites on the leaves and vines, and you can see me right here adding the little sugar stars that the soot sprites eat. Now, I didn't add the eyes to the soot sprites right here. I actually paint them on after the Totoro is baked, and then I resin them all together. Right here, like I said, I put holes in the top of my frogs so I can add the eye pins before baking them. So right here, I'm just going to add the eye pins really quick before I go and bake everything. Now, I did want to talk about the Totoro's whiskers. I first rolled out a snake, and then I cut them to the length of the whiskers that I wanted. Then I fired the whiskers, made them hard. Then I added them to the soft Totoro sculpture. Then I went ahead and baked them all together. I just wanted to share that process. That way you guys know how I did it. Also, I didn't want the whiskers to be floppy when I added it in to the oven. So that's just my process of how I added them to the Totoro, if anyone's wondering how I got them to stand up. Once I finish adding these eye pins in, I'm going to pop them in the oven at 250 degrees and for about 15 minutes. Okay guys, we're going to stick these guys in the oven now. I just need to set my oven for the right temp, and then we'll stick them in and bake them. Okay. Okay, we're gonna let it preheat. These are our pieces. Okay, so here's another little tip that I found out over the years of doing my clay. Getting a pricey resin makes a difference. So I used to use like the cheap jellyfish resin kit, and honestly the resin had a really hard time curing, and I couldn't figure out why, and for years I never used resin. I used like this gloss that goes on to the pieces, and honestly my pieces broke all the time. I did find Mr. Resin. This is a really good brand, so if you're getting into polymer clay, I definitely recommend using it. Also, make sure that you're wearing a respirator mask when you do resin. You may not be able to smell the fumes right away, but they'll definitely give you a headache. Also, I like to resin at night, that way my resin doesn't dry and cure super fast on me. These are the finished pieces. This is one of the frog cake earrings that I worked on. And then I also did my pet keychain with resin. But yeah. Also, for those of you who are wondering when my Studio Ghibli merch will be available on my shop, it will be March 20th. I will have special paintings I did. They're exclusives, so that means there's only one of their kind, and once they're gone, they're gone. So please stay tuned for that. These are what the pet keychains look like. Just so you know, everything in my videos is for sale on my shop, so if you're interested in purchasing anything, head over there. I also do customs. Also, I am doing a giveaway for when I hit 500 subscribers here on YouTube. So to be a part of that, all you have to do is comment a peach emoji, like this video, and subscribe. Once I hit 500 subscribers, I will be doing a giveaway for these 3 blind boxes. I will be pulling names from the comment to see who wins.